Once Jungkook was gone and silence spread, Wan looked at the man on the floor. She didn't know if they were alive or not, nor she had the courage to go check. She instead called the cops, yet a few men entered her shop. They were dressed well in a classy way, looking professional with stoic faces. Wan was surprised when a man double her height and size stepped forward and bowed his head, a little to her as an assurance that he was not here to hurt her. He gestured at his men, who picked up the broken, beaten up thugs and dragged them away. It was just one shocking event after another. Who were they? Who was the man before? What was even happening here? When the cops arrived, Ryan told them everything, but they seemed uninterested now that the problem was gone. They didn't care if this was temporary or she might get in trouble again. It was frustrating, but that's how the case was closed before even opening. Next coming days, she opened the shop as time as always. Yet something was different. Every other day, men would appear, fix her broken furniture, bring the limited edition books. They replaced the old coffee machine as well, which was near its death. No one in the whole town was this rich to do it for nothing. Plus, the only man here to own security was the only one who lived up the hill. Why didn't like the possibility? A few thugs left a long lasting trauma on her, but to be involved with a man who was danger himself? One evening, Fan received an invitation. It was delivered by hands in a black envelope, sealed. Inside was a single card. You're expected 8 p.m. Blackthorn Mansion. With that, all of the tiniest doubt left inside of her was gone. It truly was Jungkook behind everything. Going to the mansion where no one has been before was another level of danger. But did she have a choice? It was not a request, it was a command. No matter how hard it was to mentally prepare herself to come here, standing on the top of the hill was feeling no one could ever imagine. Whenever she looked at the mansion from afar, it looked so high, untouchable. But standing here was different. Looking at the town from top, up there, gave a feeling that she was above everything else. Is that how Jungkook felt every time he stood there and glanced out at the town under his feet? Now that she was here, in the midst of the clouds, the mansion was nothing scary. It was dark yet prime luxury anyone could ever imagine. Lit up with 1,000 lights as she stepped inside and was escorted with so much protocol and manners. A man in a tailor suit opened the door, nodding respectfully. Miss Mai, this way. She was led through a grand hallway. past flickering candles and walls lined with art that seemed older than the town itself. A place so big yet too silent. Even her heartbeat was echoing through the walls. Reaching Jungkook, who stood near the fireplace, he truly gave away the vibes of a king who owned everything. Jungkook, you came? Why? Did I have a choice? She stood her ground. Jungkook turned, stared, and analyzed and spoke as he stepped over towards the couch, taking a seat. Jungkook, none of us wants to waste time. The people who came to attack you were not just some thugs. They had people behind them who supported them, and now you're in danger because of that. The story didn't end with those three. Wine gulped and balled her fists. Wine, I never asked for your help, but don't you have your car stationed outside the store every minute of the day? I should be fine. Jungkook, he won't be. And that's why from now on, you're staying here. Wine frowned and took a step backwards. Wine, I won't do that. JK, for some time, you will have to. This is where you truly don't have a choice. Wine, I don't understand. Whatever happens to me, why do you care? Jungkook, because they think getting to you will affect me. Wine, so let them think whatever they want. Why do you care? JK, I care because they're right. Wine was speechless there. She had so many questions, but the most prominent was why. She didn't know, but she was his the moment she was involved in his business. Wine, for how long? JK, a few days shall be fine. The case will be solved soon. Wine, I will leave whenever I want. I'll do whatever I want. I will take no restrictions. JK, you're staying here for protection. It's not a cage. It was a risk. The outside world after that incident seemed more dangerous to her than the danger himself, who offered her protection. JK, I assume you did not have dinner yet. It shall be ready. White noted being super hungry by now. They had dinner together. The whole time she was trying to hide her super crazy heartbeat. It was not fear. She knew it. It was because of this certain man who came in her life. The way he talked and looked command, the way he saved her and offered her protection, his power, his personality, everything about him drove her crazy. Ryan, thank you. Good night. She stood up as soon as she was done with the dinner and rushed out of there. A maid escorted her to her room. The next morning, she left for her cafe in a car provided to her by Jungkook, with a personal driver, and so it happened daily. And then came the time, as the evening approached, the sky outside turned dark. The bell above the door chimed as it opened, bringing in the cold air of the winter along with a man so tall and built. Dressed in all black with an overcoat, he held an aura so strong it could suffocate anyone in its vicinity. That's where danger is. What's how people know when danger is around them. Why? What are you doing here? JK, is that how a customer is treated here, Miss Wyan? He picked up a book, yet his sharp eyes were on hers. Eyes? They said everything. Ryan, oh, please have a look all you want. Would you like me to have some coffee and snacks? He picked up a book and took a seat. JK, or I might appreciate some of your time. There's no customer at this hour. Ryan prepared them a cup of coffee and served him with their taking a seat as well. He was charming, like a top star model in his red carpet. He owns every place he went. That's how crazy Ryan's heart would beat in his presence. JK, I was informed you are leaving to work early and returning home late, refusing to eat anything, claiming you had eaten already at your work. Are you afraid your food is poisoned, or does someone there, threatens your security? Ryan, you might have offered me your protection, but you don't expect me to trust it blindly. If the thugs are dangerous, then what does that make you? And your guards? Why should I trust them just because you do? Ryan noticed how he always took his time before replying, and when his answer came out, it's calculated and final. It becomes a command. Nothing can ever change that. JK, have your meals with me. Join me in the car while I drop you off and pick you up to work and from my way to work. Since I made you leave home, I shall take responsibility. Did every businessman had that much time, or was she an exception? She thought he had noted. He finished his coffee and left the store, went stayed till her time, taking customers. Unlocked the store as well at night, and was surprised to see Jungkook's car still there. He was waiting inside. Her heartbeat picked up again as she quickly got in the car, and they drove back home all the way to the top of the forbidden hill. The home felt entirely different in his company, warmer and much more beautiful, less lonely and haunted. Wine. Can I have a room near to yours as well? It's just the long hallways scare me sometimes. It was a simple flick of his hand, and the maids were on it already. She bit her lip, curling her toes. It was an immense desire to hold him every time she was around, but she couldn't. She needed to control. She quietly walked to her room, Jungkook ahead of her, her eyes down to the floor until she bumped into the man who stopped. Wine. Oh, are we here? When Jacob looked down at her, her red cheeks, drunk eyes, it was hard. He knew exactly what was happening to her and was so freaking hard to control himself, let alone seeing her this way. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her inside the room and closed the door, trapping her against it. With wide eyes and crazy heartbeat, she eyed him. There was no fear in her. Why? What are you doing? She whispered. Jagge. Or I might ask the same. What have you trying to control so hard? His back of the hand gently grazed her cheek. Was she drunk? Maybe she almost lost herself at a simple touch. Why? You cannot. Because I didn't do anything. He stepped closer. Was he trying to give her a heart attack? Jake, do you want me to step back? She quickly held onto her shirt. Giving in to her desire, she got on her tiptoes. Getting the signal, Jungkook kissed her, intertwining their fingers against the door as he kissed her till both of them were satisfied. JK, the case is solved. I came to tell you that in the evening. We couldn't. Why? So I can leave? JK, if you stay, you are mine. If you leave, I'll come after you until you are mine. Fine, I'll stay. But I want to take my time to understand you better, so you can understand me better, so we can see if we can settle well with each other. Jackie kissed her again, agreeing with her. Hand pulling onto the locks of her hair, he waited for this. Every time knowing she was in his home, so near yet so far, it drove him to edge. He was going to make them comfortable with each other. He was going to earn her. She was his, and it was final.